What if I told you there's a door capable of revealing the deepest secrets of your soul? Secrets you don't even imagine you carry? Carl Jung, the revolutionary Swiss psychologist, discovered something extraordinary. Our mind hides dark and luminous aspects that determine every choice we make, every relationship we build, every failure and every victory we experience. But how do we access this hidden knowledge? Picture yourself standing before 5 mysterious doors. One emanates an intense red light, another shines in golden yellow, the third has enveloping green edges, the fourth radiates a deep blue, and the fifth, ancient and brown, whispers ancestral stories. Each door represents a unique aspect of your psyche, a fragment of your inner truth that you may have never confronted. The door you would choose reveals not only who you are today, but who you were always destined to become. Prepare yourself for a journey to the center of your soul, where Jung will guide us through the most intimate corridors of the human mind. 1. The red door, the fire of hidden passion. Behind this crimson glow lies the most powerful force in human nature, your raw, unfiltered passion. This energy burns within you like a sacred flame, often buried beneath layers of social expectations and fear. When you feel drawn to this door, your soul is crying out for authentic expression, for the courage to live without masks. Your hidden passion isn't just about romance or desire. It's the fuel that drives your deepest dreams, the force that makes you feel truly alive. Many people spend their entire lives suppressing this fire, afraid of what others might think, afraid of losing control. But Jung understood that without this passion, we become hollow shells, going through the motions of life without ever truly living. This red energy manifests in countless ways. Maybe it's the art you've always wanted to create but convinced yourself you're not talented enough. Perhaps it's the career change you dream about but dismiss as impractical. It could be the adventure you long for but tell yourself you're too old, too busy, or too responsible to pursue. The fire behind this door represents your life force itself. When you suppress it, you don't just lose passion, you lose vitality, creativity, and joy. Your body knows this. That restless feeling you sometimes get, that sense that something is missing from your life, that's your inner fire trying to break free. But here's what Jung discovered. This passion isn't dangerous when properly understood. It becomes destructive only when we try to completely deny it. When we acknowledge and channel this energy consciously, it becomes our greatest strength. It transforms from a wild fire that burns everything in its path into a controlled flame that lights up our entire world. Your soul hides this passion because it knows how powerful it is. It's been protecting this sacred flame, waiting for the moment when you're ready to honor it without being consumed by it. The red door beckons those who are tired of living half-lives, who are ready to embrace their full emotional spectrum. This isn't about becoming reckless or throwing away everything you've built. It's about integrating this powerful energy into your life in meaningful ways. When you walk through this door, you're choosing to stop apologizing for who you are at your core. You're deciding that your dreams, desires, and authentic self deserve space in your world. The people drawn to this door often feel like they're living someone else's life. They've followed the script society gave them, but something inside rebels against the ordinary. They feel called to something bigger, something more authentic, something that sets their heart racing with possibility rather than anxiety. Your hidden passion might scare you because it demands change. It whispers that you could be more, do more, feel more than you currently allow yourself. But fear of this power is really fear of your own potential. The red door represents the choice between safe mediocrity and passionate authenticity. When you honor this aspect of yourself, everything changes. Your relationships become deeper because you're bringing your whole self to them. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're investing your true energy. Your daily life becomes an adventure because you're finally living from your heart instead of just your head. 2. The yellow door, the light of forgotten wisdom. Golden light spills from this threshold, calling to those who carry ancient knowledge they've somehow lost touch with. This door represents the wisdom your soul has been quietly accumulating, the insights that flash through your mind in quiet moments, the understanding that comes not from books but from deep inner knowing. Your forgotten wisdom isn't about being smart in the traditional sense. It's about the intuitive understanding that guides you when logic fails. It's the voice inside that knows the right answer before your mind catches up. It's the clarity that emerges when you stop trying so hard to figure everything out and simply allow yourself to know. This yellow light illuminates truths you once understood, but somehow buried under years of overthinking and self-doubt. Maybe as a child, you had moments of crystal clear insight about people, situations, or life itself. You could sense things others missed, understand complexities that adults couldn't explain. But somewhere along the way, you learned to distrust this inner knowing. Society teaches us to value external authority over internal wisdom. We're told to follow rules, trust experts, and doubt our own perceptions. While these skills have their place, they can disconnect us from our natural ability to understand life on a deeper level. The yellow door calls to those ready to reclaim this birthright. Your soul hides this wisdom because it's precious and powerful. In a world that often values quick answers over deep understanding, your inner knowing becomes a sanctuary. It's been waiting patiently for you to remember its value, to trust its guidance once again. This forgotten wisdom shows up in many forms. It's the gut feeling that tells you someone isn't trustworthy, even when they seem perfect on paper. It's the sudden clarity about which path to take when facing a difficult decision. It's the understanding that comes when you stop forcing solutions and allow answers to emerge naturally. Jung recognized that this inner wisdom connects us to something larger than our individual minds. It's not just personal insight, it's access to deeper patterns and truths that govern human experience. When you walk through this door, you're choosing to honor this connection rather than dismissing it as imagination or wishful thinking. The people drawn to this golden threshold often feel frustrated by surface-level conversations and shallow solutions. They sense there's more depth available, more understanding possible. They may have been told they're too sensitive, too intuitive, or too philosophical for practical life. But these qualities aren't weaknesses. They're indicators of profound inner resources. Your forgotten wisdom includes knowing how to heal, how to create, how to love authentically. It encompasses understanding about timing, energy, and the invisible connections between all things. This isn't mystical nonsense. It's practical wisdom that can transform how you navigate every aspect of life. When you reconnect with this inner light, decisions become clearer, relationships improve, and life flows more naturally. You stop second-guessing yourself constantly and start trusting the wisdom that's been there all along. The yellow door represents the choice to value your inner knowing as much as external knowledge, to remember that you already possess much of what you're seeking outside yourself. 3. The green door, the garden of relationships. Behind this verdant threshold lies the truth about how you connect with others and the world around you. The green edges of this door pulse with life energy, representing growth, healing, and the deep human need for genuine connection. When your soul calls you toward this path, it's revealing your hidden capacity for nurturing relationships that truly matter. Your relationship garden has been growing in secret, tended by parts of yourself you may not even recognize. This isn't just about romantic love or family bonds. It's about your ability to create meaningful connections with everyone you encounter, to see the humanity in others, and to offer the kind of presence that makes people feel truly seen and valued. Many people struggle with relationships because they've forgotten how to tend this inner garden. They approach connections like transactions, keeping score of what they give and receive. They build walls to protect themselves, not realizing these same barriers prevent the deep connections they crave. The green door beckons those ready to learn a different way. Your soul knows something beautiful about relationships that your mind has forgotten. It understands that true connection isn't about finding the perfect person or avoiding all conflict. It's about showing up authentically, offering genuine care, and creating space for others to be themselves without judgment. This wisdom lives behind the green door, waiting for you to remember. The people drawn to this threshold often feel lonely even when surrounded by others. They sense that their current relationships lack depth, that conversations stay on the surface while everyone hides their real thoughts and feelings. They long for connections where masks can come off, where vulnerability is welcomed rather than feared. But here's what Jung discovered about relationships. The quality of your connections with others directly reflects your relationship with yourself. The green door represents not just external relationships, but the integration of all the different parts of who you are. When you stop rejecting aspects of yourself, you naturally stop rejecting those same qualities in others. Your hidden relationship wisdom includes knowing how to listen without trying to fix, how to offer support without taking over, and how to maintain your own identity while deeply caring for someone else. It encompasses the understanding that conflict can deepen intimacy when handled with respect and genuine curiosity about the other person's experience. This door also reveals your connection to the natural world, to animals, plants, and the earth itself. Many people have lost touch with this primal relationship, but it remains alive in your soul. The healing that comes from spending time in nature, the peace you feel near water or among trees, the joy of watching animals simply being themselves. These experiences connect you to something larger than human drama. Your soul has been protecting this relationship wisdom because it's tender and valuable. In a world that often treats people as means to an end, your capacity for genuine care becomes precious. You may have learned to hide this part of yourself after being hurt or taken advantage of, but it's still there, ready to emerge when conditions feel safe. The green door calls to those who understand that relationships are like gardens. They require patience, attention, and faith in the growth process. You can't force a flower to bloom, but you can create conditions where blooming becomes natural. The same is true for human connections. When you walk through this door, you choose to invest in relationships that nourish, rather than drain you. You learn to set boundaries not from anger or fear, but from love for both yourself and others. You discover that saying no to what doesn't serve you creates space for deeper yes to what truly matters. Your relationship garden includes your connection to creativity, to purpose, and to the mystery of existence itself. These aren't separate from human relationships. They're all part of the same web of connection that gives life meaning. The green door represents choosing to tend this entire garden with consciousness and care. By the way, if you're curious to go even deeper and integrate your shadows and light, check out the Sim Method ebook. It's a concise guide that can help you unlock your inner power in just 5 minutes a day. The link is in the first pinned comment below. 4. The blue door, the ocean of deep intuition. The deep blue radiance from this doorway calls to the part of you that knows without knowing how it knows. This is the realm of intuition, where information comes not through thinking, but through feeling, sensing, and allowing. Your soul has been developing this capacity throughout your life, even when your logical mind dismissed these experiences as coincidence or imagination. Your intuitive ocean runs far deeper than you realize. It connects you to information that isn't available through normal channels. The subtle energy of situations, the unspoken feelings of others, the potential outcomes hovering around current choices. This isn't magical thinking. It's a natural human capacity that Jung recognized as essential for navigating life's complexities. Many people have learned to distrust their intuitive insights because they can't explain where this knowledge comes from. They've been taught that only provable, logical information has value. But your soul knows better. It understands that some of life's most important guidance comes through channels that can't be measured or analyzed, only experienced and trusted. The blue door represents depths of awareness that most people never explore. It's the part of you that senses when someone is lying, even when their words sound convincing. It's the inner voice that warns you away from certain situations before anything obviously wrong happens. It's the sudden knowing about which direction to take when standing at life's crossroads. Your deep intuition includes sensing the emotional undercurrents in any situation. You might walk into a room and immediately feel tension, even when everyone is smiling and acting normal. You could meet someone new and instantly sense their authenticity or lack thereof. These aren't random impressions. They're your intuitive system reading information your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. This oceanic awareness also connects you to timing and flow. Have you ever had the experience of thinking about someone just before they called? Or feeling drawn to take a different route home, only to discover later that your usual path was blocked? Your intuitive ocean constantly receives and processes information about the larger patterns affecting your life. The people called to this blue threshold often feel different from others, like they're picking up signals that no one else receives. They might have been told they're too sensitive or that they overthink everything. But sensitivity isn't weakness. It's the antenna that allows you to navigate life with deeper wisdom than logic alone can provide. Your soul protects this intuitive capacity because it's both powerful and delicate. In the noisy world, full of distractions and demands for immediate decisions, your deeper knowing needs quiet space to emerge. It speaks in whispers, feelings, and gentle nudges rather than loud commands. The blue door calls those ready to create this internal quiet and learn this subtle language. When you honor your intuitive ocean, life becomes less stressful and more flowing. Instead of forcing your way through every challenge, you learn to sense the currents and move with them. You make better decisions because you're accessing information beyond what's immediately visible. You avoid problems before they fully develop and recognize opportunities others miss entirely. 5. The brown door, the ancestral roots of the soul. This weathered ancient threshold carries the wisdom of generations before you, holding secrets that stretch back through time like roots reaching deep into sacred soil. The brown door represents the profound connection between your individual soul and the collective wisdom of your ancestors, not just your biological family, but the entire human lineage that flows through your being. Your soul carries imprints from those who came before you, their struggles and triumphs woven into the fabric of who you are today. This isn't just about inherited traits or family patterns. It's about the deep wisdom that accumulates across generations, the hard-won understanding about survival, love, creativity, and meaning that lives in your bones, whether you're conscious of it or not. Many people feel disconnected from this ancestral wisdom because modern life has taught us to focus only on the present and future. We're told that the past is irrelevant, that we should create ourselves from scratch without regard for what came before. But Jung understood that this disconnection leaves us rootless, trying to solve problems that previous generations already figured out. Your ancestral roots contain both gifts and challenges. Some patterns passed down through your lineage serve you well. Perhaps resilience in the face of hardship, creativity that expresses itself in unique ways, or an intuitive understanding about certain aspects of life. Other inherited patterns might feel like burdens, fears that don't seem to belong to your actual experience, limiting beliefs about what's possible, or ways of relating that no longer serve the life you want to create. The brown door calls to those who feel this ancestral pull, who sense that understanding their roots could unlock something important about their purpose and potential. You might find yourself drawn to family stories, genealogy, or cultural traditions without fully understanding why. Your soul recognizes that this connection offers both healing and empowerment. This ancient wisdom includes practical knowledge about living that each generation learns anew. Your ancestors knew things about resilience, community, and finding meaning in difficult circumstances that could transform how you approach your current challenges. They understood rhythms and cycles that modern life has forgotten, ways of being present with both joy and sorrow that could enrich your daily experience. Your soul has been quietly preserving this ancestral wisdom, waiting for you to be ready to receive it consciously. Sometimes it shows up in dreams, where you meet relatives you never knew, or find yourself in places that feel familiar despite being completely foreign to your waking experience. Sometimes it emerges as sudden insights about family patterns or unexpected talents that seem to come from nowhere. The people drawn to this threshold often feel like old souls, carrying a depth of understanding that doesn't match their chronological age. They might be fascinated by history, drawn to traditional crafts or ancient practices, or feel most at peace in places that carry the weight of time. These aren't random interests. They're your soul recognizing its deeper heritage. But ancestral wisdom isn't about living in the past or blindly following tradition. It's about understanding the foundation you're building upon so you can choose consciously what to carry forward and what to transform. The brown door represents the courage to face both the light and shadow of your lineage, to honor what serves while healing what harms. When you walk through this door, you gain access to strength and wisdom that extends far beyond your individual experience. You understand that you're part of something larger, that your life has meaning not just for yourself, but as part of an ongoing human story. This connection can provide comfort during difficult times and guidance when facing decisions that seem impossible to navigate alone. Your ancestral roots also connect you to the earth itself, to the understanding that human wisdom emerges from deep relationship with the natural world. The brown door holds the memory of when people lived closer to natural rhythms, when wisdom was passed through story and ritual rather than books and screens. 6. The Shadow's Mirror. What you don't want to see. Behind this door lies the most challenging and potentially liberating aspect of Jung's psychology, the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, denying, or projecting onto others. Your shadow isn't evil or wrong. It's simply the collection of qualities, impulses, and potentials that didn't fit into the image you needed to create to survive and succeed in your particular world. Every person you dislike intensely, every quality that triggers strong negative reactions, every behavior you judge harshly in others, these are mirrors reflecting aspects of your own shadow back to you. Your soul knows this truth but has kept it hidden because facing your shadow requires tremendous courage and self-compassion. It means admitting that you're not who you thought you were and that you're capable of more than you imagined, both darker and brighter than your conscious mind wants to believe. Your shadow formed early in life as you learned which parts of yourself were acceptable and which needed to be hidden. Maybe your family couldn't handle your anger, so you buried your capacity for righteous fury along with your ability to set strong boundaries. Perhaps your creativity was dismissed as impractical, so you suppressed your artistic nature and lost touch with innovation and originality. Possibly your sensitivity was seen as weakness, so you developed a tough exterior that now prevents intimate connections. The shadow's mirror shows you these disowned parts of yourself, but not to shame or punish you. Jung discovered that integrating your shadow actually increases your wholeness, creativity, and authentic power. When you stop using energy to suppress these aspects of yourself, that energy becomes available for living more fully and genuinely. This process isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about reclaiming who you've always been beneath the adaptations and masks. Your shadow contains not just difficult emotions and impulses, but also positive qualities you've been afraid to own. Maybe you've hidden your intelligence because others felt threatened by it, or suppressed your natural leadership abilities because you didn't want to seem bossy or controlling. The people drawn to this mirror often feel exhausted from maintaining their carefully constructed persona. They sense that something important is missing from their life, but they can't name what it is. They might find themselves repeatedly attracted to or repulsed by the same types of people, caught in patterns they can't understand or break free from. Your soul protects this shadow material because it knows how vulnerable you'll feel when these defenses come down. But it also knows that true strength comes from integrating all aspects of yourself rather than fighting half of who you are. The shadow's mirror reflects both your disowned darkness and your unclaimed light, showing you the full spectrum of your human potential. Facing your shadow means accepting that you're capable of both cruelty and kindness, selfishness and generosity, wisdom and foolishness. This isn't moral relativism, it's psychological honesty. When you acknowledge your capacity for behavior you don't admire, you actually become less likely to act from these impulses unconsciously. What you can see and accept, you can choose consciously. The mirror also shows you how much energy you've been spending on judgment and criticism of others. When you recognize that your strongest reactions often point to your own disowned qualities, relationships become less charged with projection and more grounded in reality. You can see people more clearly when you're not using them as screens for your internal conflicts. Your shadow work isn't a one-time event, but an ongoing process of honest self-examination. It requires developing the capacity to hold paradox, to love yourself while acknowledging your flaws, to maintain standards while accepting your humanity, to take responsibility without drowning in shame or guilt. When you integrate your shadow, you become more whole, more genuine, and paradoxically more lovable. People sense your authenticity and feel safer being real around you because you're not trying to be perfect. Your creativity flows more freely because you're not censoring half of your impulses. Your relationships deepen because you can be present with the full range of human experience in yourself and others. 7. The dance of opposites, inner light and darkness. Within your soul exists a constant dance between opposing forces that Jung recognized as essential to psychological wholeness. This isn't a battle between good and evil, but rather the dynamic interplay of complementary energies that create the fullness of human experience. Your inner light and darkness don't cancel each other out. They work together to create the complex, multifaceted person you truly are. Your soul understands what your conscious mind often forgets, that trying to be only light leads to shallow spirituality and false positivity, while embracing only darkness results in cynicism and despair. True wisdom lies in learning to dance with both, to honor the necessity of each without being consumed by either. This dance creates the tension that generates creativity, growth, and authentic power. The light within you encompasses hope, love, generosity, and the drive toward connection and meaning. It's the part that believes in possibilities, that reaches toward beauty and truth, that finds joy in simple moments and profound experiences alike. This light isn't naive or blind to suffering. It's the force that transforms pain into wisdom and darkness into understanding. Your inner darkness includes grief, anger, fear, and the realistic understanding of life's limitations and losses. It's the part that questions, that sets boundaries, that recognizes when something isn't working and needs to change. This darkness isn't depression or evil. It's the depth that gives your light substance and meaning, the shadow that makes brightness visible. Many people exhaust themselves trying to eliminate one side of this equation. They chase endless positivity, attempting to think their way out of difficult emotions or circumstances, or they sink into pessimism, convinced that hope is foolish and that darkness represents the only honest response to life's challenges. Both approaches miss the profound wisdom available when these forces work together. Your soul has been orchestrating this dance your entire life, even when you weren't aware of it. Every major growth period in your life has involved both breakdown and breakthrough, loss and discovery, ending and beginning. The dance of opposites isn't something you need to create. It's already happening. The question is whether you'll learn to move with it consciously or continue to resist the rhythm that's trying to guide you. This inner dance shows up in every area of your life. In relationships, you need both the ability to connect deeply and the wisdom to maintain healthy boundaries. In work, you require both creative vision and practical execution, both confidence and humility. In personal growth, you need both self-acceptance and the motivation to change, both patience with your process and urgency about your limited time. The people drawn to understanding this dance often feel torn between competing impulses and values. They might struggle with being both ambitious and spiritual, both independent and deeply relational, both realistic and idealistic. Instead of seeing these as contradictions to resolve, Jung invites us to see them as creative tensions to embrace. Your inner light and darkness each carry gifts that the other cannot provide. Your light offers vision, inspiration, and the energy to keep moving forward even when circumstances are challenging. Your darkness provides discernment, depth, and the groundedness that prevents your dreams from becoming mere fantasies. Together, they create the full spectrum of human wisdom and capability. Learning to dance with opposites means developing comfort with paradox and uncertainty. It means accepting that you can feel grateful and disappointed simultaneously, that you can love someone deeply while also needing space from them, that you can be both confident in your path and open to changing direction entirely. This dance also reveals itself in the rhythm of your energy and attention. There are times when you need to push forward with determination and focus, and times when you need to rest, reflect, and allow things to unfold naturally. Both phases are essential, but many people get stuck trying to maintain only one mode, leading to either burnout or stagnation. When you learn to honor this inner dance, life becomes less about choosing sides and more about finding dynamic balance. You stop wasting energy fighting aspects of yourself or your experience and instead learn to work with the full range of your human nature. This doesn't mean becoming passive or accepting everything without discrimination. It means making choices from wholeness rather than from the fear of your own complexity. 8. The awakening, integrating your complete truth. This final threshold represents the moment when all the aspects of yourself that have been hidden, denied, or forgotten finally come together into conscious wholeness. Jung called this process individuation, the lifelong journey toward becoming who you truly are, beneath all the roles, expectations, and adaptations that have shaped your identity. This awakening isn't a destination, but a continuous unfolding, a deepening relationship with the totality of your being. Your complete truth includes everything you've discovered behind each of the previous doors. The passion that burns within you, the wisdom you've always carried, your capacity for deep relationship, your intuitive knowing, your ancestral inheritance, your shadow aspects, and the dance of all your opposing forces. Integration means learning to live from this fullness rather than from only the parts of yourself that feel safe or acceptable. This awakening often begins with a crisis or profound disruption that shatters your existing sense of identity. Maybe it's a relationship ending, a career falling apart, a health challenge, or simply the growing awareness that the life you've built doesn't reflect who you really are. These experiences, while painful, serve as invitations to remember and reclaim the aspects of yourself you've been living without. Your soul has been preparing for this integration your entire life, carefully preserving all the pieces you would need when you were ready to become whole. Every experience that felt too intense, every emotion you couldn't handle, every dream you dismissed as unrealistic, these weren't mistakes or failures. They were your soul's way of developing the full range of your human capacity, even when your conscious mind wasn't ready to claim it. The awakening process requires tremendous courage because it means letting go of the smaller version of yourself you've been maintaining for others' comfort or your own safety. It means risking disapproval, misunderstanding, or rejection from people who prefer you to stay in familiar patterns. It means taking responsibility for your own happiness and fulfillment rather than waiting for external circumstances to change. This integration doesn't happen all at once, but unfolds in waves throughout your life. You might reclaim your creative nature in your 30s, integrate your shadow in your 40s, and discover your intuitive gifts in your 50s. Or the timing might be completely different. Your soul knows when you're ready for each phase of remembering, and it will create the circumstances that invite the next level of wholeness to emerge. As you integrate your complete truth, your relationships naturally transform. Some people will be drawn to your increased authenticity and depth, while others may feel uncomfortable with your refusal to play old roles or maintain familiar dynamics. This is natural and necessary. True relationships can only exist between people who are willing to be real with each other. Your work or creative expression also shifts as you begin living from wholeness rather than from only acceptable parts of yourself. You might find yourself drawn to new forms of service or contribution that use gifts you didn't know you had. Or you might discover ways to bring more of yourself to existing roles, transforming them from obligations into expressions of your authentic nature. The awakening process includes learning to trust your own authority rather than constantly seeking validation or direction from external sources. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissive of others' wisdom, but rather developing the capacity to filter all input through your own inner knowing. You begin to trust that you have everything you need within yourself to navigate your unique path. Your complete truth also encompasses your connection to something larger than your individual identity. Whether you call this God, the universe, consciousness, or simply the mystery of existence, integration naturally leads to a sense of belonging to the larger whole. You understand that your individual journey is part of a bigger story, that your healing and growth contribute to the healing and evolution of all life. This awakening brings both profound peace and dynamic aliveness. Peace, because you're no longer fighting yourself or trying to be someone you're not. Aliveness, because you're finally accessing and expressing the full range of your human potential. You discover that you're far more capable, creative, and resilient than you imagined when you were living from only fragments of yourself. The integration of your complete truth is ultimately about love. Learning to love all of yourself, including the parts that seem difficult or contradictory. This self-love then naturally extends to others, as you recognize that everyone is on their own journey toward wholeness. You become a living invitation for others to remember and reclaim their own forgotten aspects, simply by being authentically yourself.